Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for the Battle Strike team or the Giant Saber, Sky Hover, and Uranus. All right, here's the size comparison with Transformers, and as you can see, they're pretty gigantic. They're pretty much Commander class. All right, let's start with Uranus here. He looks really good in robot mode, I think. Part of the problem, though, is that he doesn't really have any arms or elbows. He's just got like two prows of a ship slapped onto his shoulders. So that really hurts his look. But overall, I think he's got a really good robot look. I'd say this is something like, I don't know, I'd rate this maybe an 8. I think he's pretty good looking. And you can see he's pretty clean. He doesn't have that much kibble except for this like hook on the back and his combiner piece right here. But he's got like a pretty good looking head sculpt here. So that is a really good look. And I really enjoy this dragon head on his chest. So that's pretty classic robot. But as far as articulation goes, he doesn't have, oh, actually he does have a head swivel. This is actually for transformation, so that's why he's got that. And then he does have a rotating shoulder here. So this goes 360. And you can hear that's on a very strong ratchet. They definitely had the opportunity to just put in like a little pivot here so his arm could at least rotate forward. And then you could see he's got like this pretend fist, which is kind of sad. It's just like molded in detail. So that's unfortunate for this guy. And then he's got nothing else. That's his only articulation is his head and his arms. Like these don't really do anything. And then nothing for pivot here. So his transformation is really simple. So you're just going to rip off his arms. And then this sliding joint, you're just going to slide one of them up and one of them down. And that will allow them both to combine. And then you turn his shoulder cannon. And then you're just going to flip up the fin. And you've already got like kind of a good looking boat, just his arms. And then all this junk can pretty much stay on his back, I think. And you're going to fold up his toes. And then just sandwich his legs together. And then collapse these so they're nice and solid. And then you can see this is the bottom of the boat. So we need his whole body to rotate. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a waist joint. So that means we have to just rip off his torso here and then physically rotate him around. Actually, what? That's weird because it looks like that could have been a rotating joint, but they decided not to use that. They used these clips instead. So we're just going to flip him over. And then reconnect him. And then we're going to take off this dragon head. We're going to rotate his robot head up. Get this crane out of the way. And then we have to rotate or pivot his visor down. And that's going to allow this dragon head. You're going to take out this little combiner port here. And that's just going to wedge right into this forehead gap. Okay, and then you get the dragon fins. You want to spread those out. And then you take this big combiner garbage and you're going to put this on the top side of the boat instead of the back. Nope. All right, and then finally, you're going to take the two arms and they're just going to peg onto these square, gigantic pegs right there. And there you have his combined ship mode, and this thing is pretty gigantic. I don't know how this thing is supposed to be oriented, maybe something like that, but it's This is 12 inches right here, so it's well over 12 inches. And then if you compare that to a Voyager figure, it looks like Starscream could almost like land on this guy. So he's gigantic. He takes up a lot of space. I got this guy from Sir Toys. He was like $50, which is a really good deal for this huge robot. Definitely better than the leader class figures that Hasbro's been making lately. And then he does have like these rolling wheels at the bottom. So pretty good details. I really do enjoy this alt mode. I really like battleships and these Navy type vehicles. He is a little bit lacking though. There's not much play you could do with him. He does have some like places where like mini cons or something could, I guess, stand around. But he is just a giant fun kind of robot. I'm going to show you how to get him into his combine mode, even though I don't have any of the combining robots or what I know about his combining pieces anyway. So this basically, these joints would now become the tops of the shoulders for the combine mode. And then you get this combining port right here, which pegs in the combiner arms. So these would become like the shoulder pads. So this would be on top of the giant combination and they'd be pointing straight up. And then you rip off his torso here. And then you can see he's got his combiner mode head right here. And this is, I think, a pretty sad looking ultimate mode head. Don't you think? It looks weird. Looks kind of like a chick. I don't know what they were going for. It's just very plain, unappealing looking. Oh, and I guess he can have this head on top of that head. Anyway, that's meant to be out of the way. And then this would become like the part of the chest, torso area. And then he has this giant combining piece kind of becomes part of the chest. And it helps like hold everything in place so he doesn't just crumble under his own enormous weight. I wonder if maybe this like connects to this actually. I think that's right. Okay, so far we have this mess, and then you put the dragon head back on that Uranus head, and then that becomes like the head crest, and this is like the shoulder, and then this chest piece, and this is where the satellite part of the combination would go to make a chest. So you get this huge mess, and then, I don't know, a bunch of other robot standing under that. And then this piece I think is kind of cool, is it basically opens up, so you can flip open these hinges here, and then this whole thing will open up into like a kind of a X shape. So you get this like leg combination piece. I don't know what I think this just pegged onto the back of the combination. I don't know, it's kind of a mess. It's just kind of there. It doesn't really do much of anything. So yeah, that's basically this robot. But yeah, the quality of this guy is definitely a 9. This is the kind of plastic and the kind of robot that's just going to be around for generations. Like this guy, he's definitely not going to be breaking. And the playability, I think, is kind of a 6. He's really not fun to transform back and forth, especially with all his parts forming. He just doesn't come together very well. I guess if you have all the other robots and you make the final combination, that might make him a lot more entertaining. But yeah, he's a giant chunky robot, and I guess that's part of his play value right there. All right, and here's the 360 view of Sky Hover. I think he's a pretty good looking robot. Unfortunately, he's got this giant combining block on his back, but you could just unclip that, and that really cleans up his look a lot. But he looks pretty good. I think his head sculpt is a little bit, well, I'll zoom in on that in a minute, but I think overall his aesthetics are really cool. I like his pincher hands, and the color separation is really good on this robot mode. So I'd say he's something like an 8. The aesthetics are pretty good. Actually, maybe like a 7. He's a little bit okay to me, but I do like the look of this guy. And then if we get into the head, that is a pretty good looking stoic head. The goggles are a little bit iffy. He looks kind of like the owl from the Watchmen. But I also like that this head crest can actually like cover up his face. It goes up like way up here, which I don't think it's supposed to. It looks much better like this. So that's pretty cool. I also like that version as well. And he's got this little light up gimmick for his chest. But yeah, he's a good looking robot. His articulation is very limited. Like he has no neck joint at all. As you can see, it's all just molded into his shoulder pretty much. And then he's got like rotating arms, but then these wings are going to get in the way. But you can rotate those up and that'll give you enough clearance that you can get the arm around. And then he does have outward motion on the arm, so that's pretty nice. And then he's got this little gimmick where you can collapse the arm and then it makes them there he goes. It makes it like open up, and then when you extend the arm, it like closes the claws a little bit, so it opens and closes. So that's cool, and it looks like these could be like Gatling guns. So overall, pretty cool looking robot, and he's got a big improvement from the last series. It seems like he should forward and backward kick on this joint. I don't really want to mess with it. I think there's actually a little notch that's keeping it from rotating. Well, it seems like that should really... Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to force it. Oh, it's kind of working. And then he's got like a full outward kick on this joint. So yeah, maybe his legs don't kick forward and backwards. But to get this guy transformed, you're going to, of course, have to rip him in half too. And then you're just going to spread these legs. Oh yeah, this definitely does rotate. These are just very stiff joints, so you do have to rotate the legs. So the clicking on this is kind of horrifying. I don't know if I'd want to be transforming this guy a lot. And then you're going to rotate the toes out, which reveals kind of like these gun effects. And then you have like part of the flying vehicle. And then you're going to take the rest of his torso here, and you're going to have to rip his arms off. So he does have like a bit of parts forming, just like the other guy. And then you're going to rotate these down. And then this whole head, oh yeah, you got to take this whole block off too. And then this whole head assembly is going to move down like this. And now you got this part of the jet, and that's going to combine into this part. So it's got this clip right here, and then it's got these little clips here. So it's held on by a few different clips. So you get this larger vehicle, and now you're going to take this huge block and you're just going to peg it in back here on the back of the vehicle mode. And then you're going to take this other combiner block, and then this is just going to peg into the back of the vehicle mode. Seems like they could have integrated this a lot better. So I find this really disappointing. Like these blocks could have like maybe gone somewhere underneath the robot or the vehicle mode. And then you're going to take these like claw joints, and they're actually going to peg into the inside of the thighs here. So you're going to want to collapse those all the way so they open up. And then you just put them right in here in this peg. Oh no, I guess they do face forward. Do they? Backwards? Oh no, they do clip facing backwards, but you have to have the claws in a certain position so they're not hitting this basically. So that's the whole undercarriage of this thing. And it's pretty sleek since all the bricks are in the back. And you got this giant kind of stealth wing looking vehicle. I don't know, for vehicle mode I'd say this is kind of a 5. It's just all smashed together. It's not my favorite. And then compared to this guy, I think this guy holds together way better. And then you compare that to this Voyager, and he's really gigantic in comparison. And then I'm even less familiar with how this combine mode works, so I'm just gonna have to look at a picture. But he's got this combiner block, and this combined head flips up and then it shifts forward, which is very nice. And you get, now that's a good looking combined head right there. It's got a lot of extra little details on it. Everything fits together really nicely. The visor even comes up and you can see a little face under it. That is such a cool head sculpt. And I really like the chest details here. So I think this guy turns out really well. All right, and I'll spare you the messing around with these, trying to get this into like the combined modes, but this is basically what it looks like. So you get this combined mode, and then the shoulder cannons like come up here, and then he's got these giant like shoulders. And then this whole block basically becomes like his right arm, which is not very convincing. So it just becomes like his bicep. So it's not great, but yeah, that's that mode. So anyway, big thanks to Jason for buying a lot of my robots on eBay. So that helps out a lot. He actually bought this one as well. And that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.